Alright, so episode 4 of Prehistoric Planet is officially out, titled Oceans. In this one, we get a lot of time to, of course, focus on more aquatic creatures, which I think was a good move in general, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who really like the oceans of prehistory. So having a whole episode dedicated to that, I think, was a good idea. And we get a huge diverse group of extinct creatures that are focused on in this, ranging all the way from the well-known ones like the Mosasaurs or the Elasmosaurs to lesser-known ones like Hesperornis or even some different species of Ammonites. First, I want to talk about the very beginning, where we kind of get a little bit of a focal point on the smaller Mosasaur, which I thought was really cool in general, because a lot of times when you see Mosasaurs, they're often the giant ones, the awe-inspiring, famous type of Mosasaur species. But we focus on this littler one that is just kind of like sticking to the bottom, trying to hide as much as it can, and only coming out at night, in which there's also an awesome bioluminescent sequence where it does its hunting. I thought that was really cool, and having a focus on that I think was a really good idea. Again, just kind of bringing different sides to what we usually see in paleo media. And a little small detail, they actually give it a small flicking tongue, which I absolutely love. That's one of my favorite pieces of speculation when it comes to mosasaurs, because of course they are giant lizards. So giving them kind of flicking tongues, I think just kind of like is like a little bit of a bow on the present. But while we're on the topic of mosasaurs, there was also that hunt sequence where the Mosasaurus hoffmanni is, of course, hunting the elasmosaurs. And we get like that little bit of a recreation of the very famous hunting moment where the great white shark kind of like jumps out of the water with its prey item in its jaws, and we see that on a grander scale with the Mosasaur and the Elasmosaur. And it was awesome. I loved the little pause before the water breaks and you realize that the Mosasaur has it in its jaws. That was really good. Moving on from that, one of my favorite moments was the little segment with the Xiphactinus and the Hesperornis. I absolutely love this little segment. It was just basically a huge skull of fish with the Hesperornis taking advantage of this perfect meal opportunity, with the Xiphactinus also taking advantage of it, and then eventually taking advantage of the Hesperornis. These are some really cool creatures to have on screen, and not really something I ever thought we would see on screen. Because for one thing, Xiphactinus is perfect for an on-screen appearance. It has a really gnarly look to it, and is just an interesting fish in general, and was also huge, so I mean, come on. But Hesperornis, I was really glad to see, with it being a bird that lived in the Mesozoic. Of course, birds are dinosaurs. They belong to a group of theropod dinosaurs, but actually seeing one on screen was a great little moment, and I think Hesperornis was a good choice for that, and having it in the Oceans episode was also perfect, because it was, by the looks of Hesperornis, it looks pretty much entirely adapted for water life, ocean life. It doesn't look like it would do that well on land with the kind of feet and skeletal structure that it has, as well as having like really small arms that probably mainly just help them change direction while swimming. They also have the perfect kind of beak filled with teeth that would have been great at catching fish. And their portrayal was really good here, just kind of seeing them swim through the waters and change directions on a whim. It looks very naturalistic and like something that could even exist today, honestly. Little side note, there was a little moment where a Hesperornis was kind of like swimming up to the camera and looking directly at it, obviously noting that there is a camera there. I really liked that, because earlier, my earlier reviews, I kind of mentioned that they did small things that help us ground this show in reality. Like it was actually a camera crew that went out there and filmed it by using like night vision cameras or thermal cameras. They even mentioned that they used a night vision camera in this one. But just kind of having the Hesperornis acknowledge the camera was like a chef's kiss on that, because it's like, oh, what's this weird thing? All right, I'm out of here. And another thing I want to note is the Ammonite section. I really like this one because they're Ammonites. They're very famous. Probably everybody can recognize them once they see them. They're used in a lot of decoration. Their fossils are extremely prevalent, and we always have a standard image when we think about them. So that's why I really liked that they brought in a ton of different species of ammonites that probably aren't too well known and are extremely unique and interesting to look at, that I'm so glad that they were brought on the screen. like Diplomaceras. I mean, I never thought I would see something like this on screen, even if it was just for a moment. And the little baby section, the baby Ammonite section, which first of all, once again, I never thought I'd see baby Ammonites on screen, so that was also really cool. But even that, like, kind of helps open our worldview on how we can think about extinct animals, and you know, even the small ones, like relatively small aquatic life like ammonites. But once again, this was another good episode that I really enjoyed watching, filled with some relatively simple stories that are just really just animals existing in nature, which, you know, obviously I like that. Just simple things like elasmosaurs getting air, or just the baby ammonites trying to escape a pool that is starting to dry. All things that you've come to expect from Prehistoric Planet by this point, and I'm definitely here for it. But we only have one more episode left, unfortunately, and that being North America. This is probably going to be the highlight. Of course, I did a little poll asking what everybody was most excited for, and North America won by quite a bit. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to see. Obviously, Tyrannosaurus, Quetzalcoatlus, Triceratops, all of those good things. But the Nanuqsaurus looks like it'll be showing up in this one. And I'm just interested to see what else we'll see other than that, and what kind of situations we're going to find these animals in the last episode. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome day.